Class is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, traders. Can you hear me and see my screen? If you could just type yes in the questions. All right, excellent. Okay, let's get started. Okay, welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. A risk disclaimer: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So in the Platform Details webinar, this is what we do. We go through some of the resources so you can understand where to find Bookmap, how to connect it, and the pricing and different versions that are available. And then we start to go into the interface of Bookmap, start to define some of the elements so you know what you're looking at. And then we start to go through some of the order flow. And we kind of do both of that together, start to explain some of the things and then start to understand some of the order flow as well. Now, when you subscribe to Bookmap, it comes with education. There's a 4-part educational course that you receive. That course you can access at any time. It starts off with basic market mechanics in order flow on up to advanced analysis. And every day following this webinar at 11 Eastern, we go through the same process as the educational course, but we do it in the live markets. Okay, so due to our analysis in the live markets, we start to anticipate future price movement. Okay, so the whole concept here is when you subscribe to Bookmap, you get the education and support, and then see it every day in the live market. So therefore, you can start to bridge that gap of understanding and in general in a classroom environment, but then see it in the live market as well. All right, so let's jump over to bookmap.com, scroll down as an intro video, some information about Bookmap here. Bookmap for equities. Okay, there's been a lot of interest in this recently. Really a nice data feed here we've put together. It's in partnership with DXFeed, and I'll speak a little more about it in a second. Okay, there's also a webinar I'm going to share with you. Let's scroll down a little bit further and connectivity. So we'll stop here and define what Bookmap is. It's a software trading platform, okay, just like other platforms out there. We're not a data provider though. We're not a broker. So you will need to provide the data for futures and or US equities. Okay, now the digital currencies, it only connects right now to the GDAX exchange. And that data is free actually. So there's no worry about connectivity there. Now you'll see all the different ways that we connect here. And you'll also note that there's a few different platforms listed under connectivity. And we connect via the API of NinjaTrader, TTX Trader Pro, and Interactive Brokers Traders Workstation. But we recommend connecting directly to your data provider. And these are the different providers that we support: CQG, Rhythmic, Gain, IQ Feed, Transact, and Dev Experts. Now this Dev Experts here is for that NASDAQ total view, and that's that US equities up here. Okay, and what's new here is we just had a webinar for it yesterday. It's NASDAQ total view and EdgeX, which is BATS. Okay, so in fact, let's just scroll up a bit here and I'll show you the webinar here. If you want to come back and watch this, this is what we had yesterday afternoon, getting a competitive advantage using the DXFeed Bookmap in US equities. And again, like we're here to answer any of your questions. So if you want me to take a look at an equity, something I have up and running right now, no problem. Just let me know, and we'll take a look at it and do some analysis on it. All right. Okay, back to bookmap.com. That's how you connect. That's what Bookmap is as a platform, not a data provider. Here are the different packages for subscribing. You can subscribe yearly and get a 20% discount, or monthly. There's some digital versions, and then there's global versions. So the digital versions are only for digital currencies. You can see there's a free version that gives you access to only one digital currency. The data is live, the data is free, but you only get one digital currency, and limited support and limited education. The Digital Plus version, you get that full support and advanced education that I mentioned. You also have the ability to trade right from the Bookmap chart into the GDAX exchange. You also get ability to record and replay your data for analysis or debriefing, and you get up to 20 different currencies at once. Now, the Bookmap Global version includes everything in Digital Plus, but it also allows for that connectivity to the futures markets, as well as that U.S. equities with DX feed. All right, now the Global Plus version, it encompasses everything. And in addition, you also get the add-on indicators that we put together. These are proprietary indicators that look at very specific things in the order flow. Okay, one of the advantages is the one-click trading right from the Bookmap chart, which is great because it allows you to manage all of your trading activity with the liquidity heat map that's right in front of you. So front run high liquidity or hide your stops behind high liquidity. Okay, so large lot tracker, for example, start to look at specific players holding the majority of liquidity in the order book. So starting to understand not just order flow phenomena, but larger players. Some imbalance indicators, iceberg detector again, starting to identify larger players that want to hide their high liquidity, and a correlation tracker. Okay, so that's the kind of brief of bookmap.com, how to connect and how to subscribe. All right, now social media, you can follow us at bookmap_pro, and all sorts of good information here, usually every day. Looks like we have a new interview with a trader right here, as you can see, and Brett, and then we can go over here to the YouTube page. And I was just showing you this here, but just some of the playlist intro videos here for those of you who are new, features and components to understand the basics of how to operate Bookmap, and then order flow video snippets. Okay, I think you'll find these very helpful, very short and concise, gets right to the point, uncovering order flow phenomena in Bookmap. Now, this kind of analysis and understanding is exactly what we go through in detail in the advanced order flow webinars. Right, so in fact, I'm going to give you access to the advanced order flow webinar today, since it's Friday. You can, there's the link for it there, so click on that, and you'll get access to the advanced order flow webinar. Okay, so get a sneak peek of what that education offers you if you want to attend. Okay, so it'll be in about 17 or 18 minutes. All right, well, let's take a look at Bookmap and see what's going on here. Just looking at Apple at the moment, but let's jump over and let's look at the NASDAQ. Okay, and see what's going on here. Okay, actually, I got a few different things on this chart. So this is from the advanced order flow webinar. We have a correlation tracker looking at Apple here, actually. So I'm going to turn that off for the moment. Okay, I'm going to close up the CVD, cumulative volume delta sub panel here. Okay, we don't want to look at that. Have some other indicators on here. I just want to strip off some of the more advanced features for now and just get to the very, very simple basics here so that you guys understand what you're looking at. Okay, and a VWAP as well. We'll take that off. All right, so this is your basic Bookmap chart. Okay, and for those of you who are new, going to look at this and think, you know, this looks way too complex. There's too much going on. It's too busy. It's actually very simple data, and there's only 3 elements on this chart, and that's it. Okay, and all 3 of these elements, though, give you a very objective, clear view of what's going on with the current and historical market. Okay, so let me explain what those three are. Okay, one is the current and historical best bid and offer. Here's your best bid and offer right here. Okay, to the right of this vertical white line. This is all current data. And then that's just recorded here. So it's just historical best bid and offer going back and forth. And then you see these volume dots. Okay, this is the aggressor classification of volume that in the transactions that took place on that historical best bid and offer. That's the second Bookmap element. Okay, the third element is the heat map. And this is the heat map here. You see this kind of orange, yellow, blue, white, and black heat map. The scaling is up here as well. So this kind of red to orange color is the highest areas of liquidity. And then yellow is less, white is less, and then blue, and then black is the least. Okay, so all it is the dome. Okay, it's looking at the dome here in Bookmap. Okay, the COB column. Okay, this is your dome. Okay, so COB stands for current order book, and it's just showing you levels of liquidity. That's it. Here's your price ladder right here. Let's zoom in a little bit. At each price level, we're showing you the amount of liquidity. Let's zoom in a little bit more. All right, so you can see these are sellers up here at some of these levels, providing liquidity with their limit orders. Down here, they're on the bid. They want to be buyers. This is your current auction. Okay, and what we do is we just take this data here and we give it a graphical representation in the heat map. That's it. Okay, so when you see the numbers change from something low to high liquidity or from high to low liquidity, you'll see the heat map change to reflect it. Okay, and then and you can see it's moving around pretty aggressively at the moment. All right, so there's a lot of adding and pulling of liquidity up at these levels right now, and that's what's happening. So what we do though is we record the data and then transpose it on the chart historically. So all of this action that you're seeing right now, well, here it is, and this is what occurred. It's all historically documented here for you. So what is these little striations you see here at the 78.5 level? Okay, this is the adding and pulling of liquidity. That's what it looks like. Okay, and look at we're really volatile period here, trading right up through this area right now. Okay, and a lot of traders are going to say that they look at these areas of liquidity and they don't really look at the dome because it's all fake liquidity anyway, or most of it. Well, what's the why would they say that? Well, these markets move so quickly, and it is true that a lot of it is fake, and a lot is algorithmically controlled, and they'll pull a lot of that liquidity. Okay, but now that you have a record of all of this liquidity here, we can make the distinction and tell you precisely if it's real or fake, and what was their intent to trade at those levels. Let's zoom into this area here. Wow, we're seeing real nice. Something's going on. Maybe some geopolitical tensions at the moment, but anyway, these areas in here that we were looking at, they're adding in pretty aggressively, right? Well, here's our answer. They didn't have the intent to trade. They pulled a lot of that liquidity, and this is what it looks like. Okay, we trade right up into this area here. We can use our data tip tool. 46 contracts were up here at 78.5, and they started to pull some of that right when the best offer started to come into it. Some transactions took place into this high liquidity here, and in fact, we can tell you precisely what traded here. Okay, well, altogether, it looks like 43 traded, and there was some sell orders in there as well as the bid and offer went back and forth. Okay, so yeah, actually, not bad then. I mean, they're starting to pull, but we can see the transactions that took place, and we get a little bit of a pullback here, right? And then the buyers come right back in here and they're lifting the offer, they're sweeping the book. Okay, this is what that looks like. Here's your best offer here, the red line. Here's your best bid here, the green line. Okay, and these are the transactions. Okay, now we're looking at milliseconds here. 200 milliseconds, from here to here is basically 200. This is a blink of an eye. Okay, the average blink of a human eye. Right, so you can see how quickly these transactions take place. Right, and they sweep the book really, really quickly. Just want to show you that in Bookmap, we're recording every single event that took place. Okay, if we zoom into some of these areas, we're showing you precisely what traded here. There is no aggregation whatsoever in this data. Okay, it's all plotted, every single event. All right, now as I zoom back out though, and you can see, how these little tranches of trading take place. You can see some of the algorithmic behavior a lot of the time in the trading. But we don't trade at those levels, right? So unless you're trading algorithmically and you want to see precisely where you're getting filled or how your algo is performing, well, you can do that. In fact, that's the environment that we came from originally, and that's how this software originally got developed, and thought this was a good idea for a product. Now, as we zoom back out though, note what we're doing, and we're graphically aggregating, just graphically and visually, and into a bigger dot here. Okay, so that little flurry of buying right here was actually just 7 for a volume of 7. Okay, so it wasn't much. But we saw each individual occurrence that took place. Okay, so anyway, this is a book sweep, in fact. So this is actually one in the education. We go through this basic market mechanic or phenomena called a book sweep. And this is how we move from one price level to the next. Okay, they take all the liquidity at one price level. The best offer moves to the next because that's where the sellers are. They've taken all the sellers at this other price level. So we move up and then we start trading there. And if they take all of the liquidity there, we move up again. And this is precisely what is occurring here. Okay, and you can see that when we moved up originally here, we had the spread widen out. Okay, this is just how the market works. Okay, the best bid did catch up here, and the spread narrowed to 1. But on the book sweep, you might not see it narrow at all. That's possible. Anyway, starting to understand these levels, starting to understand if this is real liquidity or if they have no intent to trade and they pull, well, we can make the distinction. And if they're going to start pulling in some of these areas here and we have a lot of buying pressure, well, then you should not trade in these areas either to the sell side. You should pull your liquidity and add it higher as well because that's what everyone else is doing. And if there's a lot of buying pressure, and you can see this is a very strong auction. Look at all that buying here, okay? And it's pulling that market up into higher levels of liquidity until it finds those sellers. Okay. All right. So going over a lot of different things here. I have not gone through our regular presentation just to define some of these elements a little bit clearer. Anyway, I've kind of gone in reverse here to describe the aggressor, the best bid and offer, and the heat map. But I think I've gone through it all. Unless you guys have any questions, happy to answer them. But let me just show you here we can just start with a candlestick and just take off and strip off all of these other elements here. Okay, and we're looking at a 5-minute candlestick chart. Right. Let me zoom out a little bit more here. Right. So we're all accustomed to this view, and well, here's really the problem. There's, a candlestick is open, high, low, and close of a 5-minute period. That's all you get. 4 data points, and we're making really important trading decisions here. We want more transparency into what happened within these 5-minute periods. Okay, so the first thing that we do is just show historical best bid and offer. Okay, now we're understanding all sorts of micro structural elements within the chart. You can see the quick drop here and then some sideways action, and then it dropped again. Okay, you don't see any of that data within this 5-minute period, none. Okay, so just historical best bid and offer already opens this up quite a bit because it's not aggregated. Secondly, we're showing the next level here in Bookmap, and those are the transactions that take place on that historical best bid and offer. Okay, and here we go. So now we're starting to understand the volume, where it traded. Okay, like a footprint chart, but even better than a footprint chart for a few different reasons. Number one, your footprint chart is going to be like a candlestick. It's aggregated data. Okay, it always is. It's either on time, or based on time, or based on volume, or based on bar rotation. Whatever it is, it's still aggregated. Okay, and why is that a problem? Well, you can't see the microstructure. You can't see this little sideways consolidation area. I can read into this right here. I mean, we see first off the quick drop. You won't be able to see that either in your footprint chart. Okay, and you can see clearly who's in control here. It's sellers. Strong sell auction down into this little area, some sideways consolidation, but look at the clusters of volume here. There's a little bit more selling on the downside here. We can rotate back down into that area and trade here because there's trading activity there. And we get a little bit of price discovery and more selling to the downside. Look at the retest right back up here and note the buying up in this area here. First off, we're making a lower high, and then look at the clusters of buying. Okay, can you see that? Can you see how there's just very little buying here? Even here, there's a little more buying for sure, but it's less than this cluster down here. Okay, and certainly less here. Sellers are in control. Okay, and we're going to get price discovery to the downside here. Okay, and that's exactly what we get. All right, so those are the two elements on the chart. And then the third element is showing that heat map. Okay, and we went over that already in detail. And understanding the auction at some of these levels. Okay, and their intent to trade or not at some of these levels. Okay, so yeah, we're really bashing around here. Very strong move to the upside. It accepted above this range up until just right now. Okay, and is coming back down to where it broke from here, and we're starting to find buyers starting to show some interest. But here's the their intent to trade right here. Here's our answer. They pulled. Okay, so if sellers can show up again here. And start to hit the bid, this is where we're going, 74. Okay. All right. Now, in real time here, reading this here, I was just about to say, well, I wasn't necessarily looking for this move to the upside here. I was about to say though, it could go both ways because we don't see a big cluster of selling down here. Okay, we just see the move down and then some sideways action, and we don't get any kind of clarity here in this area. It could go both ways. Okay, and then look what all of a sudden someone came in and they came in with a lot of aggressive buy orders, and they just lifted the offer. This is really difficult to in Bookmap we don't know, like if someone comes in and just sweeps the book like this. Okay, they can come in out of the blue, right? And then someone came in and swept it to the other side now too. Okay, so anyway, it's that's a hard read. On the other hand, though, we can start to understand the auction, the amount of buying here, and then we can look for areas where it might pull back to and see if they're going to support it again on the buy side. Okay, and are they here? And well, so far we're seeing a little bit, but it's still, I don't like it. We're not really seeing a commitment on one side or the other here. Okay, based on the transactions. One thing though, look at 80 right here, 119, 120 contracts. And it's one individual actor, our large lot tracker, is showing us that. Okay, if we can find some more sellers here, we're going to come down and hit 75 pretty quickly. Okay, and it's not so clear. I mean, we're finding some buyers still, and what we want to understand in reading the complete order flow here, not just the transactions, is traders' reaction to this high liquidity. Okay, and you can see initially it repelled the buyers. Okay, and we didn't find a lot of sellers, but now here we're getting some insight. Okay, we found the buyers. Okay, they met these guys here at 80, and it looks like that transacted. Okay, so let's zoom in here and let's just make that distinction. Okay, did they absorb? Did they trade? And the answer here is yes. Okay, 109 traded. Okay, it was 120 altogether, right? 119 altogether. Well, at this point, it looks like it actually was 109. I can use that data tip tool, and it says 109. Okay, and what traded? 109, and it's all aggressive buying here. Okay, so we found the buyers. They took these guys on here. Okay, that's bullish, definitely. And what's been the reaction? Well, yeah, we're really pretty volatile here. These guys are trapped. You know, it's going back and forth, but this is a bullish sign. Most of the time that we see this, we're looking for the continuation through that area. Okay, and in fact, it's not so bad here because like if we need to see more continuation through that area, and then we're looking to see if we get a pullback and to see if those buyers still show up again. Okay, and they didn't here, right? Instead, we found some sellers here, and they went down to the bottom of the range here, and down to close to our 75 level here. Okay, now we found the buyers yet again here. Boy, it's just really moving back and forth. Yeah, exactly, Nay. I mean, like, yeah, bees to a honeypot. It's that's a good analogy. You know, starting to understand in general, kind of overall structure and who's in control here. And Roberto, I'll answer your question, Roberto, and then let me put this link back in for you guys because we need to get to the next webinar. And you guys are all invited to it. So we can continue the conversation there. All right, so click on that link and then we'll see you over there. Let's see here, Roberto, can you please show the volume delta? Okay, do you mind asking that again in the next webinar? I'd be happy to go over that. Okay. If you can just copy and paste it into the chat over there. Okay, thanks. All right, guys. All right, we'll see you over in the next webinar. Else, have a good weekend, everybody, and we'll catch up with you next week. Okay, bye-bye.